Recently, on a podcast I listen to frequently, I heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's true. The host, a very smart sounding person, reminded me just how important it is to get the day off to a good start with a big, healthy breakfast. And as a kid, I loved cereal, but kind of turned away from it as an adult because, I learned that it's full of sugar and junk and all that stuff you really shouldn't eat, certainly not for the first meal of the day anyway. But as I also heard on that same podcast, just like the Chicago Bulls, I'm back on my cereal swag. Because check this out, Magic Spoon cereal has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving. There's only 140 calories a serving. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, and low-carb. And you can also build your own box of your favorite flavors, such as cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, cookies and cream, maple waffle, blueberry, cinnamon, plus the newly reformulated honey nut flavor, which, to top it all off, has only 1 measly gram of sugar in it. How's that for a lineup of selection choices for you to have every single morning? Go to magicspoon.com/nodunks to grab a custom bundle of cereal, and be sure to use our promo code NODUNKS at checkout to save $5 off your order. And Magic Spoon is so confident, baby confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason at all, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember, get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/nodunks and use the code NODUNKS to save $5 off. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this episode.
So we can't drink this wine, okay? It is corked. It's no longer good. It's no longer with us, okay? Wet cardboard on the nose and vinegar. Vinegar in my brain. And now I'm at this girl's apartment. She is not appealing. She is annoying. She's talking. I want to say to her, you've lied to me about your age. You've lied to me about your home. And now you're lying to me about your interests. I don't care for that. I don't want to hear another word about the Starbucks secret menu. Then she tell me she want to have a baby. Oh, jeez, Louise, I need to leave the building. So that's what I'm getting from this wine. And you can't blame me for anything I just said because I'm simply responding to what I get. Okay, in the glass. It's all in the glass.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Monday, April 18th. I'm J.E. Skeets, and alongside me here in the yard, thanks to the power of technology, we got Tass Mellis.
Happy playoffs, gents.
What's up, Tassy? We got a top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey-o.
Hey-o. The international man of mystery, taking it to the Max Lee Ellis.
Friend.
And pushing the buttons in the background, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. Shout out to the stream team joining us live right now on YouTube. Like the vid, hit that little thumbs up, subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube, share the show, and drop your comments here in the stream team. I know the first question a lot of people are going to have, JD, so let's just address it right now. Why are we not in the Classic Factory with you? What's going on?
Right. Yeah, you are not in the Classic Factory because it's COVID Central over here, guys. We all got it. Rachel tested positive on Friday. I was fine. The boys are fine. Then Saturday morning, all hell broke loose.
Oh, boy.
We are sticking swabs up our nose left and right. But, yeah, we all got it. What can you do, you just got to follow the guidelines, guys. I don't know. Yeah. I mean,
how are we feeling?
Yeah.
You seem fine.
Honestly, it's, COVID is a scourge, but I'm triple vaxxed. And we're like, I've never had a sickness like this where like there's no fever at all. Like it's just, it's actually kind of nice in that I don't have the delirium of a fever, right? So I feel a little run down, and that's about it, and some congestion. But I'm able to watch all my stories and, and stay awake, and I actually watched a little bit of every single basketball game this week.
Wow, you are sick. You are sick.
So there you go.
Probably you should go.
You must have a fever. Yeah.
Yeah. What are you rocking there, JD? You got an Omicron, a Delta, the BA2 variant. What do you know?
Your guess is as good as mine, Leigh. I honestly, we were sort of back tracing our steps, and I think that it's a Canadian variant because, as you know, I was in Mexico last week. A friend of ours came down. He got COVID immediately. Like he was down with COVID. Then my friend Derek, he got sick and he didn't get tested, but I'm pretty sure he had COVID. Right. And then Rachel got COVID. So I think it went all the way from Canada to Mexico and then back with us.
Okay.
So
as long as everybody's not feeling too ill. So what's the CDC guidelines say? When are we back in the Classic Factory?
I think Thursday, according to the test, according to Jackson's able to go back to school on Friday, and he tested after I did, like a day after I did. So,
all right. Well, we'll see.
So the Thursday or Friday, depending. I mean, it's up to you guys. I mean, I'm here. We could just open the door, right?
Garage doors.
Yeah. Open air factory.
Okay.
An outdoor show.
As long as everybody's feeling okay. We'll play it extra safe, and that's why we're here in the yard talking about the opening weekend of the NBA playoffs. Send in your questions, though, either about COVID or about basketball, whatever you want, to nodunks@theathletic.com. Send them in all week long. And in case you missed it, we started a new YouTube series over the weekend called The Weekend Shift, where we were trying out, 20 to 30-minute reaction videos that we're posting just to YouTube. They're not podcast people, so they're just on YouTube. I think we did 5 in total. Including one immediately following the crazy Celtics-Nets game, which, of course, we're going to get into here on Monday's podcast. But go check that out. I think people were having fun with those. Trey did one after the Bulls-Bucks game, which got very entertaining. Chicago making a game of it. So those are living on YouTube, only on YouTube. Check them out and subscribe to No Dunks, and maybe we'll keep doing them throughout the week or at least, again, on the weekends. Lots of fun, and thanks to everybody that chimed in and joined the stream team during those shows. They were a blast. But, okay. We have 8 games to sort of discuss. We'll try our best to get to them all, but I got some questions that'll maybe have us bouncing around. Man, Trey, you are having cat problems here on Monday. You got COVID.
Wilbur wants some loving right now. I was telling y'all before the show, I saw this man absolutely eviscerate a chipmunk over the weekend, and I haven't been able to look at him the same ever since. And I think he can tell. Yeah, he can definitely tell. He's like, I need to be all up in you right now. But here's the thing with Wilbur: if I touch him once, I have to be petting him for the next hour and a half. So I'm kind of trying to stay fingers away, move him away from the mic when I can literally hear him purring. But we shall see. Because if I shut him out of the room, you're just going to hear him meowing, trying to get in here for some sweet loving. So
just
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Dr. Evil it for the show and just have him there and just stroke him the whole time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, lots going on here. So bouncing around. We're gonna tackle this task like sort of a conference at a time. I think that's the best way. So we'll focus on the Eastern Conference game ones, and then later in the show after a break, we'll turn our attention to the Western Conference game ones. So the question that I'm going to start this off with: Eastern Conference playoffs only. Okay, Leigh, and this is for you guys, of course, and for everybody in the stream team and listening and watching later. Who's your Game 1 MVP from the East, Leigh? Where do you start?
I'm going with Jayson Tatum and the Boston Celtics. I think obviously the biggest game, the most important game, and the most fun ending there. And Jayson Tatum, I mean, if we work backwards a little bit, of course, he hit the game-winning, twisting, turning layup in the lane there where Kevin Durant kind of fell asleep a little bit, allowed Tatum to go inside. It looked like initially, I said this on the show last night with you, Skeets, I thought he didn't get it off in time, but he did. Celtics,
well, maybe that's because Mike Breen wasn't quite sure either.
Well, that's right. Yeah, because it was such a chaotic end. I mean, it seemed like they made too many passes. Marcus Smart, it felt like he was going to jack it up. He didn't. He makes the right pass in the end. But prior to that, just some incredible Boston Celtics defense on the Brooklyn Nets there to force Kevin Durant into a tough shot. And it was Jayson Tatum who really was the last defender there on Durant. Now, we've seen him hit that shot, but still Tatum was there. And I thought this was really what Jayson Tatum did for the Celtics a lot yesterday. I thought he was fantastic offensively, scoring the ball, distributing the ball, especially in that first half, but also defensively. You know, if you look at the box score, he picks up one steal where he just ripped it out of Bruce Brown's hands. He got 2 blocks. One of them was on Kyrie Irving and one of them was on Kevin Durant. That's not something a lot of people have to talk about after a game. But I thought just offensively as well, like it wasn't like he had to go out and score 50 points. He was such a factor, though, in getting to the free throw line, taking good shots, knocking down threes. And as I mentioned, he also had the 8 assists to go along with the 31 points. And just a huge victory here for the Boston Celtics because it looked like it was going to be something of a comfortable win there. They're up by 15 points. And then Kyrie Irving in that fourth quarter was just unstoppable. And Jayson Tatum, in fact, was defending him on a couple of those plays there where Kyrie just got past him or hit some, the tough mid-ranger there. So he was brilliant. But ultimately, I think because for the Boston Celtics, I thought Al Horford was probably their second best player, maybe Marcus Smart, who was really good. Jaylen Brown didn't have a great game. Derek White, I didn't think, and their entire bench didn't give them a whole lot. But Tatum, I mean, he's likely to be an all-NBA first-team player, and you saw it because he's a two-way player. I mean, he really is defensively taking the assignments on, and then on the offensive end, just doing everything for his team. So I thought, and again, I mentioned this I think the Celtics in the end escaped with a victory because I thought they kind of blew it there. They gave up, they were down by 5 in that fourth quarter, and ultimately they get away with it. Jaylen Brown did have a nice play to get it back to within 1 point on that second last offensive possession where he sort of bulldozed Bruce Brown over a little bit. But it would have
put
been
his ass in the basket, man.
But if they have called that an offensive foul, that would have been,
it wasn't.
Been a terrible. No, it wasn't. But you sometimes see those ones called. Anyway, I just think Tatum really did step up. He's been already in his young career a very, very good playoff performer. Yeah. And in the key moments there last night, I thought he was brilliant for Boston.
Yeah, Tass, what'd you think of Celtics Nets game 1 and the ending and Tatum and how he played and just, Kyrie dropping middle fingers to the crowd, the whole thing. It was Shakespearean, they were saying on Twitter.
Yeah, it kind of went like everyone expected, right? The better team leading after 3 quarters, the team that does it by committee, and then the 2 dudes that take over going on a run to start the fourth. It was a double-digit lead going into the fourth quarter for the Celtics, then a 17-2 run for the Nets to take the lead. And then, the better team taking their time on that last possession. They'd only scored 17 points in that fourth quarter and then using every stinking second of the clock and not relying on one guy. I was so shocked to see Jaylen Brown go down there with the ball at 8, 7, 6, 5 and just being totally calm and throwing it over to Marcus Smart, who caught it with 3.5 seconds left. And I'm sure everybody, including Kevin Durant, and I'm showing you a photo here in the stream team, Durant's looking up at the clock as soon as Smart catches the ball. 3.3 seconds left on the clock. Then Marcus Smart drives in. Durant not looking at Tatum whatsoever. Tatum making that backdoor cut. Everybody in the world expecting Marcus Smart to shoot that. Claxton flew by him. Pump. Drive in, and the better team winning at the 47-minute and 59-second mark, just outdueling the Stars. And you could give it to Tatum as the MVP, but Marcus Smart leading that defense that threw Kevin Durant off. Kevin Durant is the best offensive player in the world, but he had 6 turnovers in this game, and he had 23 points, which is not a lot for him because Marcus Smart and that Celtics defense just threw him off. How do you get into the best scorer's head in the world? I think you just make him think over and over again. So when he turned after catching balls, in the high post like he always did, he saw 3 defenders, and sometimes they'd go at him and they come back, they go at him and come back. So they just made him think. And then Marcus Smart taking a huge charge on Kevin Durant with 3:15 left, again, sort of getting in his head. And then obviously making the pass of the game there towards the end. But phenomenal team versus superstars. It was just like everybody wanted it. The Celtics fans got exactly what they wanted. If you just watching this, I watched it live in a California pizza kitchen, watching it with some guy. Watching it with some guy. I had to get the game on a TV that was near my booth, and some guy in my ear saying, "Oh, the Hawks got screwed on their schedule. They had to play a day game after just one day off. They just got to get Donovan Mitchell from the Jazz, and they'll be all right." And I was telling him to shut up while watching this ending.
What a swerve!
But he was just talking Hawks, blah blah blah. But going back and watching this after the fact, knowing that Kyrie was giving everybody the crying, the double fist crying while he was inbounding a basketball, and he told everybody to shut up. He gave him the cry, and then he got the ball, and then he scored, and he gave him the cry as he went back down. Even pregame, he was knocking the camera out of the huddle. I mean, he was so pissed. Yep. Post game in the hallway, somebody told him, "You suck," and then Kyrie said, "Quote, suck my dick." And I mean, it was like start to finish. If that's Shakespearean, I don't know. I don't think Shakespeare would say such a word.
Oh yes, However, in Hamlet, he tells somebody to suck his dick. I remember.
Suck my dickens.
Oh, amazing game. I mean, obviously the game of the weekend.
Oh, I know. It would have been the greatest revenge game ever if they pull out the victory, Trey. But yeah, even Tatum, I think, said with the Marcus Smart, where everybody thinks he's shooting that three. Including two Nets players that actually bite on the pump fake, if you want to call it that, because they think he's shooting it. And Tatum said he was just crashing the boards because he's like, well, that's going up. Maybe I'll get an offensive rebound. But then, yeah, what a play from Smart, what a catch from Tatum, what a spin, what a finish. Your thoughts, Trey, on just it's amazing that the series that everybody had circled, this is the one that you have to watch this weekend. If you were only going to pick one, it lived up to the hype, at least through one game.
100% it did. That's why I got the ABC slot on a Sunday afternoon. That was major. So, yeah, I don't know if you give the MVP to Jayson Tatum or if you give it to Marcus Smart. So give it to both of them. It's a co-MVP for their game one performance just on that last play. It was awesome. I like what Marcus Smart said after the game. I've always been told that you have more time than you think. And he definitely did. I mean, that's why you saw two close out to him as he pump faked on the three-pointer, because everybody thinks, okay, that's got to be the last second shot. But he had the poise and the wherewithal to just hang on to it for a second. The pump fake was nice. He could have easily just kept going, and probably drawn a foul on that play if he wanted. But Smart to step through and then to find Jayson Tatum for the quick spin. I don't know if y'all saw the sideline angle.
Yeah.
Or the sideline angle. It's crazy to see how fast Tatum is spinning, but that's exactly why coaches like to not call a timeout, right? Because they say you can get a good shot before the defense gets set. And you could definitely tell that was the case with the Nets. When you watch Kevin Durant, he just doesn't know who to pick up. There's people running left and right. It's a scrambling kind of play. You think maybe Jaylen Brown is going to take the shot. He doesn't. You think Smart's going to take the shot. He doesn't. Eventually, it ends up being Tatum, and Kevin Durant's just kind of left guarding nobody. And that's because the Celtics didn't set up, didn't give them a chance to get the matchups that they were looking for. So great stuff from Udoka to let the players just play. Great play by Smart to find Tatum. And then the incredible poise to spin that quickly, get it to the rim. First buzzer-beating game winner at home in Celtics history?
Yeah.
How's that possible? They've been playing in the playoffs since they invented the playoffs. But that was really cool to see. What a game.
Oh, my God. Okay, here's two questions for you, Tass. When does the league come out with the fine for Kyrie Irving? Because they don't play till Wednesday. So do they let everybody breathe here a day and wait till tomorrow, or hell, even game day? And how much is it? What's he getting dinged for all the middle fingers that he was throwing to the Celtics crowd? What do you think?
Well, enough time for everybody to compile the 4 moments. I think there's a middle finger, even the pushing away of the camera. There's the wah, there's the suck my D. So there's a video compilation, and it's probably 100K. And every time you see Kyrie do something, it's another ding, 25K, ding, 25K, gets up to 100K.
100K. Wow. Is that even legal? I don't know. I
don't know if it's against the law, but
I think there's a max or something.
I think I saw on Twitter going around. It's basically down to whether or not the NBA decides they just lump them all in as one. Okay, 50K is the max we can fine you. That's for everything. That's all encompassing. All you can eat, really. So get your money's worth for 50 grand. Or if they say you did this, that's 25 grand. You did this, that's another 25. You did this, that's another 25, and whatever. Because he was also, Patrick Beverley got fined, I think, 30 grand for profanity in his press conference, and Kyrie was dropping F-bombs and other pretty bad words himself there when he was asked by Nick Friedel about what he was hearing and what he was saying. So I think he's going to get multiple fines here. because and look, he's got a point. I will say this: Kyrie has got a point where he's saying these guys can say whatever they want, and there's no sanctions against the players, against the fans, excuse me. And we're supposed to just like cop it all and act docile. And, and he's got a point.
He's basically saying they can say, fuck you, Kyrie, but I can't say fuck you back to them.
And that's the thing. And that's where, again, the security within the arena, if people are stepping the line, and I don't know if they are, I'm not saying they are, but if they are, then they need to be thrown out as well, because they can't just unload on him and expect him to not react at all, because it's human nature. If someone's just getting in your face the whole time, you're going to react. Whether you're on a basketball court or not.
When 10,000 people are chanting "F you," Kyrie,
I know, and that's where it's hard. That's where it's difficult to point out one guy and said, "Hey, he said fuck you," and this guy said you suck. So does that get you thrown out for saying you suck? Of course not.
You're below average. I don't like you. I think the referees, how they put out videos of saying, "Oh, Trey Young is flopping on this play. That's an offensive foul." They should put out a video of all the things Kyrie said and why he was fined. That would be great. That would be a really enjoyable watch on Twitter.
But anyway, he's getting a healthy old fine there. I think it's probably going to be the $50,000, and that's probably about right. Because the only one weird part was Kyrie saying, I want to look them in the eye and see if they're about it, and they said no. Yet he was looking out the other way while giving them the old
from double birds behind the head.
The two-hand reverse fingers is awesome.
And there was plenty of people
if he's fined $75,000, he should get 25 back for the double fingers behind the head, because that one was actually cool. I thought that was a hilarious way to talk trash to fans, like you're 11 years old or something.
So yeah, we'll wait to see what the league decides on the total cost it's going to cost Kyrie for the all of the stuff he was doing in that game. But man, he almost won them the game, which is the miraculous part there, that takeover in the fourth. And even like you guys were saying that the Durant three, I think it was you, Leigh, where Tatum was up on him, made it tough, deep three, and he misses. But that was off of the Kyrie dribbling, and just couldn't get anywhere. Like they were shut. He
kind of had a shot when he went to his left.
Yeah,
like he shook Marcus Smart.
Yeah, a little bit.
He had it, but I guess I don't know. I guess he was setting up KD because or maybe he was burning as much clock as possible, which is quite often a mistake. But yeah, he had it a little earlier in the shot. He had space, and he would have hit that. For sure.
Also, Horford, I thought, did really good extra help there. He came over, the old man, moving his legs and making tough for Kyrie, and then it did go out to Tatum. But just one more thing on Tatum defending Durant directly. He only hit one shot directly. Now, Schumann, I know Schumann's often in the stream team. In NBA stats this morning, the box score says he hit two. He didn't. It was only one. So go and correct that, Schumans, because Tatum was incredible. And the only one he got was a nice screen off Nick Claxton that freed up Durant for that little mid-ranger. So, Tatum was brilliant.
Okay. Tass, any other MVPs in the East that deserve some recognition here?
No, I think we could fly to the next question. We got so much to get to.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like I put together like a quick list, and I'm sure we're going to touch on these players in the series, but like I had Tatum on the list. I actually had Kyrie on the list for what he nearly pulled off. Tyrese Maxey, Duncan Robinson, and Brook Lopez, I thought was pretty big in the Bucks victory there against the Bulls. But yeah, let's go to the next question. Eastern Conference playoffs only. Most disappointing performance. So, Tass, this can be team or it can be individual, wherever you want to go. What do you think?
Well, it's the Toronto Raptors. Unfortunately, as a team, they came in, a lot of expectations, a lot of people picking the Raps as the underdog against the Sixers. A lot of people saying during the regular season, myself included, this is not the kind of team you want to play in the postseason. And they just weren't anywhere close to that team. They were just a step slow defensively, super slow. They just didn't look like a team that went out and got after it, really. The first Sixer score, you can see Tyrese Maxey coming around a screen up top at the three-point line way up top, and he is able to just mosey on into the lane, get both feet in the paint. I think he was surprised how open he was, and he hit a floater. And then he got a steal close to his own three-point line and beat two Raptors down the floor. I know he's fast, but the fact that two guys in Siakam and Gary Trent kind of let him go past him, and then his next shot was an off-balance three. So he saw two balls go in, and then that third shot, even if it wasn't a great shot, it went in, because he had a good flow going, and it just shows you in the postseason, every possession freaking matters. It really does, because the Sixers got so confident. Even you saw like Fred VanVleet touching the back of, I think it was Maxey on that first possession and getting a foul. And then all of a sudden, Fred VanVleet isn't aggressive. The fact is this Raptors team looked in the regular season like no one would just go through them defensively. They're always scrambling. They're always moving. But the Sixers outran them. They had 29 fast break points on only 8 turnovers. So 8 turnovers and fast break points at 29. That just means they were outrunning them after grabbing a defensive board. It was ridiculous in terms of the Raps defense. And part of it, I'm sure, was watching Embiid and Harden and maybe being a little too focused on those dudes. So Maxey went off with 38 points and Tobias Harris went off at 26 points. But I just think they have to be scrambling more. They just started badly in this game. And yeah, this could be a start of just a downward trajectory. This could be a slippery slope with all the injuries that they sustained in game 1. So it's an unfortunate start. And that's why I know in the regular season, first quarter doesn't really matter, but in the playoffs, it does because everybody starts to get going. Tyrese Maxey can't score 38 points. He just can't. And I know people will say, oh, Embiid, they did a good job on Embiid and Harden, 5 of 15, 6 of 17. Yeah, I guess. But they were just slow getting out to everybody else. They just weren't in it. It was just a game where they just weren't ready to play. Most of them anyways. Scotty Barnes, awesome. The rest of them, not amazing.
And yeah, they're going to be probably missing some guys tonight here for game 2. They got the Saturday and then Monday schedule here for 1 and 2 of their series. Scotty Barnes doubtful because of the sprained ankle. Gary Trent Jr. doubtful because of some illness that he has. And Thaddeus Young doubtful because of his thumb hyperextension there in his left hand when he sort of went down there. So they got their asses handed to them and may not have the best player in that game that they had, like you said, Scotty Barnes. I agree with you there, Tass. And then some other key pieces there being one starter, Gary Trent Jr., who could hit a 3, couldn't hit a shot, 2 for 11 overall, but they needed shooting. Trey, anything to add to that series or anyone else that was disappointing for you in the East?
I thought it was disappointing. I think the Raptors have to be the most disappointing in the Eastern Conference for the first weekend. The Hawks, they got smashed, but it was kind of a schedule loss. And honestly, that's the way it should be. If you win your way into the play-in tournament, you should have to play a really, really hard first-round game against the 1 seed. That kind of makes it even for the 1 seed not finding out their team until, Friday night. But seeing the Raptors get out-Raptored by the Sixers was pretty surprising to me. Only 3 turnovers for Philadelphia. Like Tass is saying, 8 for the Raptors. And Philadelphia was the team that was fast breaking all night, which I thought was pretty surprising. It looked kind of like the first month of the season Raptors, where the offense is okay, but the defense just couldn't get a stop. And now, after seeing the way Embiid stepped on Scotty Barnes' ankle and foot, you almost feel a little bit like it's a blessing in disguise that it wasn't a worse injury, just because it seemed like a lot of Embiid's weight came down on a very awkward angle on Scotty Barnes' foot there. But it's going to be tough for the Raptors now. But I also think they can be a lot better. Seemed to be a pretty vanilla game plan for Nick Nurse in game 1. So he's going to have to get extra exotic starting in game 2. They got to figure out a way to stop Maxey and Harris. Like, you can't let all of the role players go off in this series. You're already worried about Embiid. You're certainly worried about Harden as well. So to see 38 from Maxey, that was really the difference there, especially considering Harris played well alongside him there.
Yeah. And, to counter what you were saying, Tass, some people saying, well, Embiid didn't do a lot. They did a good job on him. I don't think they did. Did he have a single turnover? I mean, he played incredible.
No turnovers.
The Raptors were not, they weren't rushing him. He was ready for it. He was making either the hockey assist or the straight up assist. And that won't cut it. I mean, they have to get under his skin and get him sped up, and maybe he's ready for it. Appeared he was in game 1. So I thought he was great. And then Harden, 22 and 14 too. And those were their second and third best players, maybe even third and fourth best players with the way Maxey and Harris scored. So Raptors have a hill to climb here, but it's nothing new when it comes to the Raps in game 1. So we'll see if they bounce back tonight, despite the injuries. Leigh, anyone else that disappointed you, players or teams wise in the East?
No, I mean, I think the other games went as planned. I mean, Chicago actually did a fantastic job in that third quarter to get the lead. I was like, whoa, my God, what's going to happen if the Bulls pull off this upset here? But in the end, the Bucks hang on and get the victory as they should. And of course, the Miami Heat, they would have gone in heavy favorites there. But it was a very clinical performance as well. I mean, Eric Spoelstra knows, and his post-game presser was pretty interesting. He was just like, we know what Trey can do, and they shut him down. And the Hawks, they're not going to play the excuse card of the travel and the, not getting any time to rest, because you're in the playoffs and you just have to be ready. John Collins came back. Capella is likely out for at least another game here, possibly longer. So they missed him. But the Heat defensively, I mean, we talked about it yesterday, Skeets, like, oh my God, what a difference it is facing the Miami Heat versus the Charlotte Hornets or even the Cavs there for the Hawks, because those traps on Trey Young were just so solid. And basically he couldn't get past them. I think he finished 1 for 12 and 0 for 7 from downtown. Now, fatigue there's no question there's some sort of a factor there, but that defense as well is the primary reason. It was just like, my God, where's he going to get his offense from? But the Hawks can probably put this one away and just go, okay, let's get better. And hopefully they are better in game 2, because I thought in that first quarter, despite everything, they were close enough. They just had to play that for 4 quarters and they weren't able to. So I don't think the series is over yet, but certainly the Hawks need to be much better in game 2 and figure out a way for Trey to get going. And if he can do that, because I think offensively they've got some good firepower there, Atlanta, they're going to give themselves a better chance. But you can't afford to fall down 20. And Duncan Robinson, he's had a pretty bad season by his standards. 8 for 9 off the bench, just throwing the ball at the hoop. And that was huge, 27 points for him. So very, very impressive first up by the Heat.
Okay, next question here, Eastern Conference. Which series prediction do you want back? Trey, of your 4 East series predictions, which one you're like, I might like a mulligan. I'd like to change that a little bit. What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure if Bulls in 6 is going to come true anymore, Skeets. Took a major hit last night because the Bulls could not steal that game 1. This was more competitive than people thought, especially after, the first half of the first quarter. I think Giannis checked out after 7 minutes, 9 points and 7 rebounds, and it looked like it was going to be over, but shout out to the Bulls. They stayed competitive last night, and they did it with defense, to be quite honest. I said in the previews, their recipe for getting any sort of win in this series against the Bucks is limiting three-pointers and then DeMar DeRozan out-shooting the Bucks in the fourth quarter. Half of it came true yesterday. A very 90s game, low scores, 93-86, lots of post-ups, lots of bricking jumpers. The Bucks shot 40% from the field, 26% from 3, and they won because the Bulls shot 32%, 19% from 3. The big stat you're hearing in Bulls circles is that the Bulls' big 3 shot 21 of 71 last night for 60 combined points. I hesitate to include Big Vucci. He had 24 points on 9 of 27 shooting. But Skeets, I'm telling you, it was a good 9 of 27. Really good. He did doink a putback with about 50 seconds left.
Yeah.
Would have cut the lead to 1. I think,
was that when Giannis was off as well? Because I know he took Giannis out.
Yes.
He had 5 fouls.
Yes.
And it was like, I guess he was just trying to buy a possession or two there, Budenholzer. And
took him off for a minute.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's the thing. He hits that. And, the Bulls, let's say the Bulls pull it off. And it's like, wow, what were you doing, Budenholzer? But he gambled and it turned out in the end safe. But man, how close.
Vooch was the best of the big 3 for Chicago. DeRozan, though, 6 of 25. Levine, 6 of 19. Honestly, major Toronto vibes in that DeMar game. The jumpers were just rimming out. He was getting to his spots, pump faking. The foul calls were not the same as they were in the regular season, as we have seen. He needs to be the best player in the fourth quarter if the Bulls are going to win, and he just wasn't. Game was there for the taking, though. Giannis was dominant when he played, 27 points, plus 19. The Bulls have no answer for him, obviously, but, it was ridiculous to me. There was that foul call. Giannis clearly over the back. I mean, that was Giannis' sixth foul, no doubt about
Williams?
it. Yeah, I mean, that's like the definition of an over-the-back call. But the foul call went against Patrick Williams, but Mike Budenholzer is just an honorable man. Took him out anyways.
Yeah,
took him out for a minute anyways with the Bucks up by 3 points. But maybe the Bulls, maybe that was the kryptonite there, because then it became Brook Lopez just being the biggest guy out there, and that was the difference. Vooch missed the putback. Levine just uncorked a 30-footer. I guess the Bulls needed a 3, but he was not shooting the ball well last night. But that's the one you steal if you're the Bulls. Drew Holiday, 6 for 16. Middleton, 4 for 13. That's a dual bad Ferris wheel right there. So tough one to lose, no doubt.
Yeah, it was there. Brook Lopez was huge down the stretch. He had like the 2. Now he may have missed a free throw, but the 2 and 1s, like those like barrel and hook shots that he hits, that he chucks up there, and they dropped. He got the foul call, and then he had I swear it was a wedgie he tipped in, Tass. I don't know
so
if you
close.
saw this. It was like, of course, it wasn't called a wedgie. Play didn't stop, but the ball looked like it got stuck. Even Eagle, I believe, sort of noted it out on the broadcast. And then, Brooke just tipped it up before they could call the wedgie, and it went in. He was huge. But what do you think of the Bulls blowing their chance to really make it a really fascinating series if they steal game one, but just coming up short because it sure seemed to be theirs for the taking?
Yeah, I was having flashbacks to last year. If you remember Miami, Milwaukee, that first game of round one, that was the ugliest game in the history of mankind. If you remember Jimmy Butler, 4 of 22 in that game, it looked like the Bucks were just trying to give it away, and they somehow won in overtime. And that's the most horrible sign for the Bulls is that they lose to the Bucks in this game, because the Bucks just get better as series goes on. Last year, round one, they should have lost that game. And then round 2 against the Nets, they lost game 1. Round 3 against the Hawks, they lost game 1. And then the finals, they lost game 1. So it's a very bad omen. Bad omen, because, I think they're going to get better. I was, watching this game thinking Giannis isn't getting the superstar calls. That 4th foul where he, quote unquote, sealed Alex Caruso up by the elbow, to call him for that, 20 feet away from the bucket. A little surprising to me. Then they gave him a charge call in that 5th one, and maybe it was a makeup call not giving him that 6th foul. But the Bulls in the driver's seat to win this thing with Zach LaVine on the bench for a good chunk of that 4th quarter because he was in foul trouble. I thought it was easy DeMar time, and DeMar 1 for 6 in the 4th. Feels like good night, Irene. If you can't win that game, the Bucks are they're slow starters in series. That's how they won the ship. So I think it's a horrendous start for the Bulls. And the Vucci one, as he said after the game, it would have made it 1-point game there, 50 seconds left. He saw it going in before it left his fingertips. It was one of those, he was already gone. He was already going the other way down the floor. So that hurt. That really, 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 really hurt. And so did
you see his body language after he missed that bunny? He literally just stood there and was like, "Hello, darkness, my old friend." You could hear it playing in his head. It's like, how did I blow that? Leigh, any thoughts on that game or any other takeaways from the Eastern Conference 4 series game ones?
No, I mean, I'm glad the Bulls made it close. I hope they can extend the series. It'd be good to see. But that's all really. I mean, Heat look good. Celtics and Nets has lived up to it. I hope we do get 7 games. Even though I picked the Celtics in 5, I'd love to see 7 games of these two because be awesome.
Okay. I hate the Hawks excuse though. Okay, so it's just a great narrative, that you can play. So if the Heat came out slow in the first quarter, which they didn't, you can say, "Oh, they're rusty." Which you could say about the Memphis Grizzlies that we'll get to. But I mean, the fact is the Heat defense is just ridiculously good. They know they've got ESP on defense. They know where everyone is at all times. Like the coverage on Trey Young, the pick comes for them, and then they switch. But they trust their defenders because the switch is fine. But the guy doesn't leave. He's just there lurking. He's not doubling. He's just there. Trey dribbles, and his original defender kind of gets back to his man. It's like what happened with Durant and the Celtics. They just made him think. Now Durant and Trey are going to be back for game 2, but I think the Heat, you could easily just flip it if they start bad, but they freaking routed the Hawks in the first quarter. So why didn't they win the first quarter if they were fresher and they played 36 hours before? I mean, I think that's bogus. I think the Heat they ran him out the gym. Playoff Lowry looks real. Everybody on that team looks real. If the Hawks win a couple games, especially with John Collins coming in and out of the lineup and Clint Capella out, that I think it would be an accomplishment if they take it to 6. The Heat are showing that they're the best defense in the East right now. Even above the Bucks or the Sixers or the Raps, they've got it together.
And Leigh, do you want to change your Raptors in 5 prediction? I forgot to ask you when we got to that question. Or are you
not yet?
With it? No, still alive.
I don't like it. While it's still alive, I don't like the mulligan. I just saw Scotty Barnes is officially out though tonight. Yeah. No update on the other guys, so it's going to be tough. But also, a few people trying to message me saying, "Oh, your Raptors are going to devour the Sixers." They still could. They still could. So,
Hey, now everybody else getting a taste of what it's like to argue with you. It's like, but it's still good.
Still in play. Okay. We'll see what happens tonight.
Okay. All right. We will see. Okay. Let's take our first break. And when we come back, we'll get into the Western Conference game 1s. Because I want to talk about the new Starbucks Baya energy drink. Look at this can. Look at the look of that can. It's gorgeous. With caffeine naturally found in coffee fruit, it's energy that's good. It's that good energy. Each 12-ounce, 90-calorie can contains 160 milligrams of caffeine. So you get that little boost. And there are 3 delicious fruity flavors to pick from. You got the mango guava. I'm a mango guava man myself. You got raspberry lime and pineapple passion fruit, which is probably Drake's favorite Baya. But the Starbucks Baya energy drink is perfect for a lot of things. Summer road trips, going from meeting to meeting, hitting the trails to walk the dog. Or this is going to sound crazy, but watching playoff basketball. There's a lot of basketball on in those game ones when you just tip it off there and the NBA playoffs start. And I was starting to hit a wall, I'll be honest, around Sunday, probably mid-Bucks Bulls game. I was getting a little fatigued, popped a Baya, and boom, I was locked back in for that game. Great finish and the NBA nightcap with the Pelicans Suns. So thank you, Baya. So try one out for yourself. Starbucks Baya energy drink, available online at grocery stores, convenience stores, and gas stations nationwide.
If you're an NBA playoff sicko like us and love playoff basketball, the best way to watch it is with Sling TV. Get every playoff game for the best price, hands down, but not man's down. Sling is the real MVP for all your favorite live sports, news, and entertainment, and you'll never get locked into a long-term contract, which means you'll keep your viewing bird rights no matter what. While other guys charge you more for less, with Sling, you can watch all the sports you love, including every playoff basketball game for the best price. You can pick your own all-star channel lineup with the big hitters like TNT, TBS, True TV, ESPN, USA Network, and more. Plus, you can stream the games anywhere. So if you need to call a timeout, you can, safe in the knowledge that you will never miss a play. Watch on whatever device you prefer, like your phone, laptop, tablet, smart TV, whatever it is you got cooking there. You can also watch anytime you want with 50 hours of DVR storage included. Sling is easy to set up and easy to use. Check out sling.com for special offers. Be confident, baby, confident you're getting all the playoff basketball you love for a price you'll love. Try us today.
When the moment for intimacy arrives, you need to be ready. Roman ready. Whether you've been in a relationship for years or are just getting started, having the confidence that comes from preparation means you're free to enjoy the moment when the moment comes. What is Roman ready? Is it when you are prepared for the conquest of the island of Britain, which began in earnest in AD 43 under Emperor Claudius? No. Roman ready is confidence personified. It is the self-assurance that comes from knowing you've prepared yourself for the moment, and it has nothing to do with the establishment of Staingate in 87 AD, obviously. But Roman's system is completely confidential and totally discreet. No big logos or labels on packages. With Roman, you can get a free online evaluation and ongoing care for erectile dysfunction, all from the comfort and privacy of your home. A U.S. licensed healthcare professional will work with you to find the best treatment plan. If medication is appropriate, it ships to you free with 2-day shipping. The whole process is straightforward, convenient, and discreet, and getting started is simple. Just go to getroman.com/nodunks and complete an online visit. If you're prescribed, you'll get $15 off your first month of ED treatment. That's getroman.com/nodunks to make sure you're ready to have confidence and control this spring. Roman ready.
All right. Before we get into the Western Conference playoffs here, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on our guy, Jared, running the Boston Marathon right now. Okay. Gun went off around, I believe, well, he was probably a little bit after. He wasn't part of the elite running group, but, they start this thing around 10. So he goes after that. He's 5K in. Okay. 21 minutes. He's off to a hot start, Leigh. Expected time to finish right now. It's very, very early, of course, in the marathon, but 3 hours and 3 minutes. So there you go. Love
Awesome.
tracking. Really fun to track, see him on the map there, how he's doing. Oh, he's at a water station. So good luck to Jared and everybody else running the Boston Marathon today. Very, very jealous.
Awesome. That's a late start, 10 a.m.
Yeah, it is. It is for marathons. That's the thing they do there in Boston. It's a great point. I think a big part of it is they got to get a lot of people from Boston to, Hopkinton or whatever the heck the place is where you start. because it's not within the same city really. You're running from one spot to another, but he's 13% done his Boston Marathon. It's got a long way to go. Okay.
Yeah, because usually I see marathoners and they're up at taking their pre-marathon photos at like 3:45. I'm ready to go, ready to bounce. Had my Starbucks bio. Here we go. And then boom, 10 o'clock. Wow, good. Let's go, Jared.
Yeah, I love the Boston 10 start because I hate those 7 o'clock marathon starts because I'm a routine man at times. And I got to take a dump at like 5 a.m. suddenly. It's like, oh my God. You don't want to try and force a dump out at 5 a.m. It's not fun. No. All right. So Western Conference, a little too much. Okay. Someone was tuning out there listening to something else anyway. Okay. Western Conference playoffs, game 1 MVP. Tass, where are you going?
I'm going with the Warriors co-MVPs. I'm going this route because if you want to be a championship team, you need more than one MVP. I'm going to go with an offensive guy in Jordan Poole and a defensive guy in Draymond Green. Start with Jordan Poole because this guy is a story this season. A guy a lot of people call the ball hog for his first couple years of his career. Here in year 3, he's become the team's starting point guard. Why is he an MVP? Well, he had 30 points on 13 shots. 13 shots, 30 points. But also, Steph Curry came back in this game, and he was allowed to come back off the bench because Poole has been that great. So you allow Steph to just come along slowly. They win this game clearly with Steph Curry hitting his first basket, 1:14 left in the second quarter. So that's phenomenal stuff. And Poole was not a ball hog in this game. Clay and Curry shot more than him. You could expect him to shoot more than that. You wouldn't, be upset if he did, being their starting point guard. But he is part of an offense that is just moving so well. I think this weekend we saw a lot of bigs dominate in the NBA, but this Warriors team is, it's a true Steph team. Everybody moving. I thought the movement on this team, the off-ball screens, opening up their shooters, it just looked like the Warriors up to their old tricks. It makes everybody look like a superstar, makes them really, really tough to guard. So they blew the Nuggets out with Curry scoring 16 points, 33 assists on 43 field goals. So kudos to Jordan Poole. The guy has come a long way. And I don't know if Steve Kerr knows what his lineups are going to be as the playoffs progress, but he's got some good options, especially with peak Draymond Green. He knows when the postseason gun goes. He's in the Boston Marathon ready to go because he's on the offensive side of the ball. He's sprinting into his screens, sprinting into those dribble handoffs. He looked like athletic as hell. He had 9 assists in this one, setting guys up. He just looked like his old ways, even on the offensive end. I'll get to the defense in a sec, but Draymond Green misses some threes. Well, he missed one. Warriors get an offensive rebound, bring it back to Dre, and he could easily shoot it, but he fired to Steph on the three-point line, who hit a 3. And I mentioned those unassisted field goals. Not a lot of them for the Warriors. Draymond Green had one. He lined up Jokic and buried a 3 in his eye. That's how good he was feeling. He knows when the postseason starts, and he did a wonderful job on Nikola Jokic. They start Kevon Looney on Jokic, and they're guarding him one-on-one, and they don't wear Draymond Green down to put him on him for 48 minutes, but they bring him on him later in the game, and it's going to be tough for Jokic. I think Jokic will. He'll battle through and have a better game too, but it's going to be tough going through those guys, and it helps, obviously, the Warriors stay home on everybody else. Jokic had 25 shots and only 2 free throws attempted. That's kind of hard to do in the NBA. It happens like 3 times a postseason over the last decade, but usually by perimeter players. I like that stat from Mike Vorkunov because it just shows how well the Warriors were guarding Jokic in general and the Nuggets, as a collective. So the Warriors looked great. Beside the Suns in the Western Conference in a route, this was also the other route in the Western Conference. And a lot of the season, it looked like the Suns and Warriors were the 2 best teams, and this weekend it sort of looked like that too.
Yeah, that's for sure. What about you, Leigh? Anybody else get a game 1 MVP vote from you in the Western Conference playoffs?
Well, also going with co-MVPs, Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. I thought they were really, really impressive. Edwards especially, 36 points in his first ever playoff game. But I think bigger picture from this, I'm probably going to go with Towns over him slightly because he really made Steven Adams look redundant in that game. Steven Adams, big guy, big, strong guy. Karl Anthony Towns spread him out a couple of times, took it inside as well, and dominated him. And you just have to wonder exactly how Taylor Jenkins is going to move going forward here, because Steven Adams has been a very important part of the Grizzlies' success this season defensively, and then on the offensive rebounds as well, keeping balls alive. But he did nothing in this game. And Karl Anthony Towns, hitting threes, taking it inside, had a huge dunk there as well. It was a close game. It was a fun game. This is going to be a fun series. I think this one could go the distance. But Karl Anthony Towns should be the best player, really, in the series. And I think he showed that in game one. If they get that sort of production, though, out of Anthony Edwards as well in every game, the Wolves could easily win it. I think they were very, very impressive. It was a close game still. And, you expect the Grizzlies to bounce back. Ja Morant didn't have a great game. He got to the free throw line a ton. Jaren Jackson was in foul trouble there for him. Desmond Bane, who's been really important, didn't have a great game as well. So there's things that are going to change. But I just think for the Minnesota Timberwolves, they're coming in as the number 7 seed against the number 2 seed that just hasn't been in a position like this before. So I think they're somewhat vulnerable. And if Towns plays the way that he did going on, throughout this series, the Wolves going to have to feel pretty good. So that was great. I thought that was a really good first game as well we saw between those two teams. I'm excited for how this series goes.
Yeah, I'm fascinated to see what Taylor Jenkins does with Steven Adams. Does he start? He very likely starts him for game 2. I would be shocked if he doesn't do that. But just does he pull him quickly if it's backfiring again? Because the matchup doesn't look great. And, is it someone like Clark on him? Do you feel a little bit better with Jaren Jackson Jr.? For sure you could, but he always gets into foul trouble. So there's that issue. Maybe even the Kyle Anderson, does Tillman get dusted off? We'll see. But I'm fascinated to see that. What about you, Trey? Thoughts on those guys there, the 4 guys that these guys are throwing out for co-MVPs in the Warriors win and the Wolves win, or anybody else in the West?
Yeah, I've actually got the Grizzlies front court as my most disappointing performers of the entire Western Conference weekend, just because, Steven Adams kind of looked unplayable. You're right, Skeets. He might get a bit of a start, a bit of a ceremonial Keith Bogans, but Clark was obviously the better option for the Grizzlies in game 1 against Karl Anthony Towns, because if Adams isn't able to punish the Timberwolves on the glass, there's basically no reason to have him out there. Towns was just pump faking and driving by him the entire night. So that'll be interesting to see. Jaren Jackson Jr., you would think, would be the choice for Taylor Jenkins, but he just fouls a ton. 7 blocks is great, but he was also in foul trouble all night long and didn't make any 3-pointers, which is something the Grizzlies are definitely going to need, is Jaren Jackson Jr. hitting some threes. Couple more I would throw in for a potential game 1 MVP. Chris Paul's got to be in the mix. 19 points in the fourth quarter last night against the Pelicans. 7 of 8 from the field. I don't know if he scored and assisted on every point in the fourth quarter, but it definitely felt like it. Felt like a nice to see Chris Paul back after, a week of no Suns games. It looked like the Pelicans were going to be able to make a nice run, but you just knew going into the fourth quarter it was going to be Phoenix Suns time. And when it's Phoenix Suns time, it's kind of Chris Paul time. So I would throw him in the mix for game 1 MVP. And Rudy Gobert, I would also throw in the mix for a game 1 MVP. 17 rebounds, just 5 points in the win against the Mavericks. He took 1 shot, but he was dominant defensively.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Just pass him the ball. He's got to have more than 1 shot in an entire playoff game. Just throw an alley-oop up there so he can hit it against the rim or something, because he was playing his ass off defensively, and he's the reason the Jazz won that game, a 99-93 victory. A weird game for sure, but 1 shot. Hassan Whiteside got more shots than Rudy Gobert did. There's got to be a way to get this man some shots. The defense is going to be there, though. I thought Gobert was excellent in game 1.
Yeah, love all those picks that you guys are throwing out there. I guess if I had to just zero in on 1, maybe 2, I would piggyback on the Chris Paul, which that game gets a little lost because it's the last game after 8 games, really 10 games if you're counting Friday night there on the weekend, the 2 playing games. But yeah, I have the stats for you, Trey. He scored or assisted on 23 of the Suns' 31 points in the fourth quarter. And there was a little moment there. It's a bit of a game. Pelicans are in this. And then CP3 scored 17 points in a 5-minute stretch to just completely crush the Pelicans' comeback. The Suns were up 7, and we got a Chris Paul 3, a Chris Paul assist, a Chris Paul 3, a Chris Paul 3, Chris Paul jumper. Game over. And a lot of that was the Pelicans decided to go under the pick and roll. And then it was Chris Paul with a lot of room and Larry Nance on him. And it was we're going to make you pay. So he was awesome. And then back to the Wolves. Anthony Edwards was a monster 36 points, played 40 minutes. In 2 games now in the postseason, he appears to be a superstar. So that's a game changer for the Wolves moving forward here. If he is going to play like an all-NBA type guard, then holy crap, they could go and pull off this upset. We'll see if it continues. But I thought Anthony Edwards' defense task was like some of the best I've ever seen him play. Like engaged, blowing up pick and rolls, deflections, ripped it from Adams at one point under the rim. I think the box score says he finished with 1 steal and 2 blocks. But the 36 points, we know he can do that. I want to see him do that defensively with his athleticism and obviously his youth. And he did that, I thought. I thought he did. I thought there was glimpses of it in the play-in, and then I really brought it in game 1. I'm not sure if you saw the same.
Oh, for sure. And that's what Wolves fans have been saying all season. They see a guy who looks like a linebacker out there when you approach him as an offensive player. If he wants to get after it, he can, and he does at times. And yeah, he definitely showed in the play-in at 6'6". I think he's more important than Patrick Beverley at times on Ja Morant, because Morant's going to blow by everybody on the perimeter, but Anthony Edwards can body Ja Morant, and so there's not much you can do with Ja. But this is how they win. If Anthony Edwards plays like he can right now, he's playing like he's the best player in this series. So it'd be tough to say that the Wolves aren't going to upset. If this guy plays like that, then yeah, this is the Wolves with the composure down the stretch there. They look Boston Celtics like coming down the stretch. With taking their time and making sure it got into the right hands. So the Wolves were super, super impressive this weekend.
Leigh, just to go back to disappointing performances, Trey talked about Adams and really the Grizzlies sort of front line not showing up for game 1 there against the Wolves. Is there anyone else that would get a vote from you for that?
Well, I mean, I think the other games kind of went to plan. I think if you look at like the Mavericks and the Jazz series, the Jazz should win game 1. They should win game 2 tonight as well. Luka Doncic will not play in that game as well. So, the Jazz have to really cash in on this incredible advantage they have. Doncic, possibly we don't see him at all. Who knows exactly what's going on with that calf, but the Jazz really have to make the most of it. But they, made it a little tough for themselves there. Maxi Kleber hits a 3 late, and maybe it's a different end of this ball game, but instead the Jazz survived. So disappointing. I mean, Utah did what they were supposed to do, but I would liked it to have been perhaps just a little more comfortable for them.
Tass, anyone else, be it team or individual performance, that disappointed you from the West?
Yeah, I think the Mavs were a little Bulls-like. That was the game to steal. They should have won that game. I think Jalen Brunson was disappointing. He missed so many bunnies. He was 9 of 24 without Luka. They're so reliant on him and Dinwiddie to some degree, but Brunson's got to be their number 1 guy, and he was thrusted into that role. I think they put him into a lot of the same action as what Luka gets played, and he just missed. He missed shots that he could easily make. They also missed a bunch of free throws, and Dinwiddie said, we lost by 5. I missed 6 free throws or whatever it was. That he struggled, and the Mavs bench couldn't support it all. They made only 3 field goals. Josh Green, the Aussie, 0 for 4 from 3, and they just looked off. He hits 1 or 2 of those. This could be a very, very different game. That was, a very odd, ugly start, I think, to the weekend for the Mavs, just because they should have won that. They should have stolen that, and Jalen Brunson and Spencer Dinwiddie, I'm sure, are kicking themselves. But I don't know. It's weird because the Jazz didn't play a great game. Beside Gobert, beside Boyan, they won a game where Donovan Mitchell shot 10 of 29. So they got to feel good too, but the Mavs can play so much better as well.
All right, let's get to the fun one here. Which Western Conference playoff series would you like the mulligan on? Would you like to walk back maybe a little bit? I'll get it started. I'm going to go. I had Warriors over Nuggets in 6, and I don't think it's going to go that long, unfortunately, because of all the things that Tass talked about with how great they look. Jordan Poole looking like Steph Curry for crying out loud in the dominant victory. The Nuggets playing solid for 18 minutes of this game and then just sort of getting killed as it went on. Aaron Gordon, you could probably put him on the list of like disappointing individual performances. He missed all 3 of his threes, finished 3 of 10. He was probably trying to do a little too much, and the shot was not dropping early. And I just don't think, like Jokic, he took 25 shots. He doesn't really want to, but he's being forced to because he's not going to get a whole lot of other help, and they're just staying at home. One defender on him be it Looney, be it Green, Bielitsa did play on him, whatever, Wiggins on a switch. They're like, fine, shoot it. Like, post us up, cut in there, do your little dink and dumps, and we're not going to send help. And we don't care if you finish with 30 to 40 points. We'll take our chances on that. So I would tweak my prediction on that. I don't like Warriors in 6. I don't think the way they looked in game 1 that it's going to go that long. So I guess I'm leaning at a Warriors in 5, or you can maybe convince me of a sweep after just one game. What about you though, Trey? Any mulligans you want?
I think that the Jazz could sweep the Mavericks. I thought Dinwiddie and Brunson were honestly pretty brutal, and that's kind of the only solution that the Mavericks have until Doncic comes back. So the longer he's out, I would be taking the Jazz in pretty much every game until, we see a Mavericks hit 23-pointers game. Seems to be the only way that they're beating the Jazz at this point. And I would say a Timberwolves upset over the Grizzlies doesn't seem super unlikely after watching the way that went down. Surely the Grizzlies will be better at defense as this series goes on, but for the Timberwolves to score 130 against one of the top 5 defenses in the league, and now we know that Steven Adams is not going to be able to play as much in this series as he would in some of these other series. He's a huge part of the defense for the Grizzlies, whereas on offense, they kind of got Ja Morant going to the rim, and then who knows what else is going to happen. It feels like there's one guy who could possibly score for Memphis and 3 who could give it to you for the Timberwolves. So I think I would still probably lean Grizzlies, but it wouldn't surprise me if the Wolves are able to pull this off.
All right. I won't even ask Leigh because he's not walking back anything. It's only one game. But what about you, Tass? Maybe one of your series predictions that have you going, I'd like to change that after one game.
Well, I picked the 2 players that are probably going to get the most MVP votes in Embiid and Jokic to be bounced pretty quickly. And I kind of like, even though it's against my Raptors, that one of them is going to stay alive. It sure looks like right now. Like the Sixers are in the driver's seat in that series, because I just didn't want the MVP chatter on Twitter to go like, oh, these 2 guys, MVPs, blah, blah, blah. They're not MVPs. They just got bounced in the first round. So for the sake of Twitter, I kind of like the fact that at least one of these guys, I felt weird saying both would be bounced, and
right.
it feels a lot better that one is going to stick around, because
won't
Jokic,
it be worse because Jokic is very likely going to win MVP, and then Embiid will advance, and then people are going to say,
I guess, depending. Well, listen, I don't know if is it certain Jokic's going to win. I guess, but we'll see. We'll see. He's got a really tough road here with the way everybody's staying home on the other 4 guys. It's just they're not doubling them. The Warriors they're too solid defensively. Again, the number 1 defense that gets overlooked with Draymond Green and going the way he's going right now. He played a couple back-to-backs at the end of the season to get him warm, and he just looks like a different player out there. So that's tough sledding for Jokic, although I expect him to bash some faces going to the rim, and he'll score some points in game 2. But yeah, the Wolves Grizzlies as well. I picked the Grizzlies in 6. They got to get some freaking turnovers because they just don't score in the half court. Going back to the regular season, they're the 22nd offense, the 22nd best offense in just the half court alone. They got there by fast breaks and offensive boards, and Steven Adams is a big part of that. And so that's a tough decision to take him out of there in terms of the offensive rebounds. But the turnovers, they got to do better. They just have to steal more balls. The Wolves turned it over 3 times in the second half. They got off to that great start. They had 25 points in the first 6 minutes of the first quarter. So there's a lot to clean up for the Grizzlies. They do one of those things, then they feel a lot better if they just slow down the Wolves, at least at the beginning, and turn them over a little bit. But yeah, we got a great series there.
All right, final question here, Leigh. Anything else you wanted to address? Any other takeaways from the 4 Western Conference game 1s on the weekend?
Well, I guess I'm sort of repeating myself a bit, but it's a blow if Doncic can't play at all because they've had a very good second half of the season here. I liked them in the matchup. I think we all did. And if we don't get him, I mean, he's been a huge playoff performer in his only 2 seasons. He's only been in 2 series, both against the Clippers, that were great. He had game winners in his first series, and it was averaged 37 points a game last season. And it's just a blow if he can't be there. So
hold on, it is a blow, but why are we so down on them? I mean, it was a 6-point game. You said Cleveland hits a 3, they maybe steal it. It's not like they got absolutely embarrassed. I think Dinwiddie and Brunson have to play much better. Like Trey said, they got to hit floaters because the floater is going to be there, and they need to hit 3s. That's part of the recipe. But it's not like, I don't know, they just didn't get clowned. I didn't think
No,
the Jazz were
didn't
like
get
world
clowned.
beaters by any means. Yeah.
They didn't get clowned, and that's, again, I think the Jazz have to basically clown them. I think they're a much better team at full strength there. And, like I say, Gobert with one shot dominated this game. If they can get him some looks inside and sort of expose the playing small ball of the Mavericks, because playing small works when Doncic is out there, but it shouldn't be as effective when he's not there because Doncic is just such a good player. So it just sucks that he can't play. I mean, that's the real thing there. And the Warriors Nuggets, I think I picked the Warriors in 6. I think it's probably not going to go that long, but we'll just sort of see how they respond here and how they react, what Mike Malone can do to try to steal one there in the Bay, because they desperately need one if they've got any chance in this series. Otherwise, I think Jokic is out in the first round, which will be also shitty if he wins the MVP.
Trey,
which he will. I think he will.
Yeah.
My pick is Giannis, but I think Jokic is going to win it. So
okay. Tass, any other thoughts on the West?
Well, I'm not good at reading subtweets, so tell me if this is a subtweet. I'm not 100% certain, but tell me if John Morant tweeting took losses because I wanted to see other MFers win. Is that him saying,
Hold on.
I pass the ball a ton?
Are they lyrics? Do we know if they're lyrics?
Well, I don't know. He added a thread tweet which says, charge it to the game.
Okay.
So I don't think they're lyrics.
Okay.
It seems like he's saying something. He also commented on Chris Paul taking over.
He also put up like a Michael Jordan from The Last Dance talking about the Hornets talking trash when they were up in the series clip. So
okay.
This is must watch.
Just fired himself up here.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they, if you remember, they won game 1 last year against the Jazz, and then the Jazz came back with the douchebag sweep 4 straight. So they have to benefit from that experience somewhat. They know in that locker room, we can do this. We can do this.
Mm-hmm. There's just a lot of questions with their front court with Adams. And the other part, again, I hate to bring it up, but the huge difference maker is this Anthony Edwards in playoffs? Like, this is, it's only 2 games. I mean, the postseason here, the play-in, and then now, but the guy looks like the best player on the floor with a bunch of other talent. He has in these 2 games. So, I mean, if he continues, I don't know, can he keep it up for an entire series? That's a lot to ask from a 20-year-old, but maybe he is.
He's completely unfazed by the moment. That's
I know.
The thing to me is like, this could be game 7 of the NBA Finals, and he's going to be having jokes afterwards.
I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
That's a game changer to me in terms of like a series, difference maker. Of course, this guy's like a 30-point guy and doesn't look phased, not rushing things either. And, we talked about that. Leigh, it was like, this guy had it going, and he was like, he wasn't trying to jack up shots and stuff like that. He was still getting it all in the rhythm, and he was playing defense, like I said.
And he's got his post-game fits on fire too, with the tie-dye there, looking like a Trey Kirby there, and then the massive initial in the gold necklace chain thing he's got there. So he's ready, man. He's been waiting for this moment in the playoffs, and he's delivering everywhere.
Okay, well, let's hear from everybody in the stream.
Well, hold on. I will say the absolute worst moment of the entire playoffs came in Timberwolves Grizzlies when everybody's sound messed up, and we got the
that was wild.
It just sounded like somebody was sitting on a remote and pressing pause or something for the entire time. That was bad.
You know what it's like?
I've
had this happen to me.
Crazy, man.
In the Chevy Trax, something's gone wrong once before with my iPhone plugged in. We were on a road trip once, Nora and I, and it suddenly started doing it, but we couldn't turn it off. And I'm like, immediately like, I think I got to pull over and we got to like reboot the car or something like that. So it happened once before. And that may have been the Chevy Cruze, actually.
I immediately blamed my kids on that. It's like, who's got the remote? You're sitting on the remote. Lincoln, get up. And everybody's standing up, and they're like, what are you talking about, man? And then I changed the channel and realized, okay, it's.
Yeah, I was confused too, JD. I was like, what's gone wrong?
What is this?
I mean, I will say it still may have sounded better than the guys trying to call the game from LA, doing the play-by-play, Greeny, Stephen A, and Jalen. I think I would have preferred the weird skipping static noise to that.
Oh, it was mute mode for me, no doubt about it.
Yeah. All right, let's hear from the stream team. All of those questions, East and West, your MVPs, your biggest disappointments, series mulligans you'd like to take already, and any other takeaways that you have. We're going to take one more break. When we come back, we'll get to Tweet of the Night.
I am ready. I'm ready to have something to look forward to, ready to get on a plane. for my man Ryan Seton's wedding this fall. Very, very exciting. And how am I going to plan my look? Well, the website that has all of my measurements stored, ready to make my custom fit for the occasion, Indochino.com. I set that up forever ago, and it was easy, and I can just jump in, add my customizations really, really easily. Everything customizable on Indochino.com for everything you want to wear. You may ask, being that Ryan Seton was a Canadian Junior Bowler of the Year, is it a bowling-themed wedding? Are you going as a pin, Tass? Will you and Danielle be going as a 7-10 split and stand really far away from each other? No, it's not a costume-themed event. It's a wedding. And just because he likes bowling doesn't mean every event is a bowling event. It's just one of those things. The guy's a bowler, so everybody just asks, does he like bowling? Pandemic has really slowed down bowling lanes. FYI, he hasn't been practicing all that much. People sticking their fingers in balls, I guess, isn't all that sanitary, even though it's, a respiratory disease. They just really slowed down. A lot of bowling alleys probably closed down. Maybe. I don't know. Although I'm sure Indochino could pull something off bowling related because they have everything customizable. As I said, maybe pins for your cufflinks. I don't know. Every piece at Indochino is made to your exact measurements, and you can customize every detail. Indochino offers completely custom fitted suits, shirts, casual wear, and more at surprisingly affordable prices. Indochino suits start from just $429 and shirts from $79. This season, dress to impress on every occasion with Indochino. Get $50 off any purchase of $399 or more by using promo code NODUNKS at Indochino.com. That's $50 off a purchase of $399 or more at INDOCHINO.com, promo code NODUNKS.
Hey, remember Saxx? Yeah, sure you do. We were talking about their life-changing underwear a couple of weeks ago. Well, Saxx is back, baby. And this time they want you to know about their sports-specific styles. My kids have seriously gotten into working out, and I told you about how Lincoln was busting my balls, pun intended, about my weightlifting regimen, more specifically how lacking it was. So while we were on holiday, I jumped into Lincoln's training schedule. Big mistake, man. I put in 4 days straight with him: leg day, push day, pull day, and then leg day again.
Wow.
And I could not move for the rest of the trip. My entire body completely wrecked. Like I could barely lower myself onto a toilet. It was that bad. Every single muscle. The only part that didn't hurt, my balls, of course. That's right. Because luckily I was smart enough to be wearing my Saxx Kinetic HD underwear with advanced version of the ballpark pouch, which provides incredible stability to your bits and pieces. Kinetic HD is great for the gym and heavy workouts because it's made with a light compression mesh for max muscle support. And for workouts that are a little less serious, but still intense, you've got the Volt and the Hot Shot. Hot Shot, my favorite, because, I ride the Peloton all the time. And it's made with a cooling fabric that literally boosts your body's natural cooling capacity. I love wearing them on the Peloton because along with my balls, I also want to protect, how did Trey refer to it? Big Chuck D, Charles Dickens. That's right, protective my Dickens. If I'm wearing a substandard pair of underwear, sometimes there's some unpleasant rubbing, friction, heat, if you will. Not with Saxx. Take advantage of our special offer today. So head on over to Saxx.com/NoDunks and get 10% off plus free shipping using promo code NODUNKS. That's SAXX.com/NoDunks and promo code NODUNKS for 10% off and free shipping.
You know who's probably wearing their Saxx right now, JD? Jared Dent in the Boston Marathon. He just hit the 10K mark. Ballpark about 42, 43 minutes in. Looks like he's easing into a nice 7-minute pace.
Yeah.
So
balls parked firmly in his shorts because
Yeah.
of those Saxx.
Exactly. He's not. Yeah, that's right. It's not going to be because of his underwear that he's going to come up short if he does. And he's not. But if he does, if Heartbreak Hill gets him, it won't be because the boys are jangling around down there. Those are intact. It'll be because of his water intake or something like that. Okay, let's get to tweet of the night.
Tweet of the night. Wow.
Twitter.
What's going on here? Why am I muted? What the? I got 2 tweets of the night for you. Okay. I'm not sure if you heard that the first time. At Terra Nova Noah has the first one. Love this. This is the worst graphic I've ever seen. Was the tweet, and there's a great photo. Check us out on YouTube. It is Patrick Beverley checking the Saks underwear on Crunch. And the quote is, I guess, from Patrick Beverley, people don't like to be touched, and I like touching a lot of people. And just this graphic is, I mean, clutch points, they always come through in the graphics, but this one's for the Hall of Fame. This one's elite. So yes, that's as simple as that. I don't know if you guys have anything to add to it. Great graphic there from Clutch Sports.
What's the Timberwolves mascot's name?
Crunch, I thought.
Oh, Crunch. Nice. Nice.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I guess hopefully his balls are parked in the pouch.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all he's checking. So I love that. But this one, we can actually talk about a little bit. We'll give credit to Mark J. Spears, but everybody was sharing it. The NBA Award Finalists. Here they are. So the NBA likes to do this thing where they give us the top 3 finishers in each category. MVP, it's Giannis, Embiid, Jokic. Rookie, Barnes, Cade, and Mobley. Sixth man, hero, Cam Johnson, Kevin Love. Defensive Player of the Year, Bridges, who was awesome last night on McCollum. Gobert, we talked about. Smart, he was great. Most improved, Garland, John Morant, DeJounte Murray, and then Coach of the Year, Taylor Jenkins, Spoelstra, and Monty Williams. I guess the winners of each award are going to be announced during TNT's coverage of the playoffs. So these Leigh are going to maybe, I don't know, come every couple of days. We'll actually get the winners announced. But any surprises, Leigh, from the list of finalists? Anywhere you're like, whoa, where's so-and-so? Or are you shocked or not? Pretty
I believe Monty's already been announced, actually, as Coach of the Year. I think I saw that.
That was from the coaches.
Oh, okay. He's probably going to win this one as well. No, look, it's tough when you cut it off at 3. I like that, though, as well. So it's down to these 3 guys. But for me, Defensive Player of the Year, Jaren Jackson, I thought should have been in. Now, I've no qualms with those other guys who are in. They're all great defenders. Rudy's won it several times here. Bridges has been great, and Smart's also been great. So it was a tough field. But personally, I just think Jackson has been deserving of this award as well. So it's tough for him to miss out. But there was also Shooms was getting into it a little bit with a few people yesterday on the most improved, and whether or not you have to sort of qualify whether or not the expectations of being a good draft pick means you shouldn't be able to win most improved. It was him and Michael Leigh going in back and forth a little bit there. So that was quite interesting. But I think Ja Morant is going to ultimately win it because he has improved so much. So, yeah, fun. It's always good, though. You know, everyone's going to get upset no matter who they saw out there. But ultimately, I think they got pretty much everyone deserving of an award.
Yeah, Tass, any thoughts on these finalists here?
Well, I love the fact that John Morant keeps going to bat for his boy, Jaren Jackson Jr. He got on the Twitters and said, Jaren Jackson Jr. led the league in blocks per game, and blocks and steals, and not on the list for Depoy. What's up with that? Desmond Bane should replace me on the MIP list. But congrats, Coach. You deserve that award for Taylor Jenkins. So I love Ja chipping in there. And I love the way TNT reveals these awards, over the next couple months. If you remember, they'll say, oh, hey, Scotty Barnes, sit down for an interview. You just got to you're having a one-on-one here with ESPN. And then all of a sudden his teammates show up with the Rookie of the Year trophy. There's some reveals like that. So it's always a good time, or somebody that's really close to the player. So that's fun. The NBA award show, it was a test run, but see you later. We don't need it. These reveals are far, 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 far better. So I'm looking forward to those.
At least we got to go to one of the NBA award show.
Be on stage.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that's right. That's pretty funny. I forgot we were on stage. Totally forgot about that. Yeah, Trey, any thoughts on these, or what do you think? Any snubs? Crazy snubs?
These guys hit it on the snubs. Jared Jackson Jr. not making Defensive Player of the Year was a surprise to me, but I guess maybe the saying will be that he has too much of an old school case where you're just counting up the blocks and the steals, and that doesn't matter unless you're Marcus Camby and it's 2010 all over again. And then, Jordan Poole, I would have liked to see him on Most Improved as well, but when I saw the finalists, I was like, oh, I guess Ja Morant being the favorite means he's actually won this thing. So,
I guess so.
Seeing him there, I think he's going to win Most Improved. But Tass is right. I like this era of reveals better, where instead of an award show, it's kind of like a prank show. You never think you're getting an award. Oh, gotcha. You got 6th Man of the Year from Joe Ingles.
Yeah. So we don't know again
prank.
when they're going to announce these. Like, is it every day TNT has their games and their big pregame show and stuff like that? Maybe, I don't know. I think they just pick and choose when the moment's right, when they can pull the prank off, like Taz said, when it lines up. So we will see. I don't even care all that much anymore about getting angry about Most Improved. I don't think it should go to players like Ja Morant. I guess I side with Michael Leigh because. Well, then, where's the case for Giannis if we're doing this? Giannis improved a hell of a lot. Guy, hits free throws at an incredible rate now. Guy hits jumpers. Guys, does all this. There are awards for these guys. They're called MVPs and all NBA selections. So it's weird that a guy like Jordan Poole isn't there to me as well. But, I guess Ja Morant probably is winning it if he was the favorite on BetMGM by a landslide. Wasn't he for months?
For a while.
But that was right before then he went out for 20 games. So I don't know how that cut falls into the equation. So maybe Garland or Murray steals it, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. Fun show, guys. I know we tried to get to every series. I think we did a decent job. Again, go back, watch some weekend shifts on YouTube where we do some immediate deep dives on some of those games if you didn't get enough of it here. Just quickly before we wrap up, Tass, Game 2 predictions, or what do you see happening tonight? We got Raptors Sixers Game 2, of course, Jazz Mavericks, and Nuggets Warriors. So fascinating that these are the 3 series that could very easily tonight be 2-0, and all of us going, oh, are these a wrap? You know what I mean? Just the way the schedule's breaking here.
Yeah, I definitely believe in the Warriors over the Nuggets, but I think Jokic will break some teeth tonight. I think he's using that shoulder to bash a Looney face or a Draymond Green face. He is going to. He's got no choice. He really has to go through guys. He only garnered 2 free throws in the first game, so I think that's going to happen. And I'm not fading on my Raptors quite yet. I think the Raptors bounce back, even if they've got a couple big injuries. That's how good they really, really prospered when guys were out towards the end of the season because they just rallied defensively. They scrambled like crazy. And so that's got to be instilled in them tonight, despite not having Scotty Barnes, who is out tonight. I think they'll rally. They'll rally around that. And they just got to move on the defensive end and get after everybody. So bounce back. They're splitting. They're splitting in Philadelphia. I don't care. And Leigh's prediction for 4-1 Raptors is still a possibility.
It's still alive. It's still alive right now.
That's all I needed, Tass. Is just one person to support it, and that just gives me the belief that maybe it can still happen.
So, Leigh, what of these 3 games tonight, which one is most likely to be tied 1-1? When we talk here in the yard tomorrow morning, which of these 3 series?
It probably is the Raptors Sixers, to be honest. I think the Warriors go 2-0 up, and I think the Jazz also do that. Again, as I mentioned, Doncic not playing, so the Jazz should really take full advantage of that. And Nick Nurse, he is a bit of a mad scientist. He's a bit of a Don Nelson where he does do some crazy things and, gets funky with the lineup, janky with the defense maybe as well. And, does Tyrese Maxey go for 38 again? But even if he doesn't, Joel Embiid's probably going to do more. I think he finished with 19 there in game 1. He's probably going to certainly shoot more anyway than he did in game 1. I think he took the 4th most shots out of the Philadelphia team, which is incredible success for Doc Rivers to win so comfortably there. Tobias Harris stepped up. He was great. Maybe the Raptors can do something crazy and hopefully get back to Toronto with a split.
We'll see. What about you, Trey? Same question. Which one of these most likely to see 1-1 after tonight?
I don't know. I'm not feeling super confident for the Raptors, which is probably a good sign for them. As soon as you count them out, they'll be looking better. As soon as more and more players get injured, the better they get. But bringing in Malachi Flynn, I don't know if that is going to be the answer. But also, maybe Tyrese Maxey just had a super heater. You know, he probably won't go for 38. You probably won't get another great performance from Tobias Harris as well. So if you're able to kind of negate the role players, then the Raptors will have a chance. The Mavericks, I guess they have a chance. They just got to shoot 3-pointers well. So look out for a big Bertans game. That would be helpful. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Trey Burke, because anytime that Dinwiddie and Brunson were sitting, it was like no chance on offense for the Mavericks. Like Josh Green is maybe their initiator in those scenarios, and they just did not have any interest in even guarding him. And I thought Mitchell took him 20 shots, but he did score 30 points in the second half of that game, which was a little bit of the difference as well. And like Tass mentioned, Bogdanovic, nice too. It'll be interesting to see what Jokic does as well in the late game, because the Warriors kept him moving a lot. They had a lot of 5-out possessions, obviously, and that kept Jokic on the perimeter, which kept him away from the rim, which kept him away from being able to get his hands in passing lanes and that kind of stuff. And he definitely slowed down, I thought, over the course of that game. He's carried a massive load for the entirety of the season. Now he's got to do even more in the playoffs, while also giving more on the defensive end as well. So a really tough matchup for him. Needs some help from somebody besides Will Barton.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of those Will Barton points came in sort of garbage time too, but you're right. I love the move from Draymond Green with the press, though. He was saying, like, he's talking up Jokic. He's like, he'll probably go for like 40, 15, and 15 tonight. Like, I love the 40 part, because I'm convinced that's their game plan. Like, he'll probably score 100 points tonight. But, hey, you know, we'll live with it. We'll live with it. But, yeah, we'll see. Okay, let's hear from the stream team your predictions for the games tonight. Email in your NBA questions to nodunks@theathletic.com. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok @NoDunksInc. Get yourself an Athletic subscription. Go to theathletic.com/nodunks. $1 a month for up to 6 months. And subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube so you can get some of those weekend shifts. Maybe there will be weekday shifts, extra shifts, whatever you want to call them throughout the week here. You got to subscribe and hit that little bell button so you know when we're going live. Fun show. Thanks, everybody, for joining us live. We'll see you tomorrow. Till then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, not all trophies come with hardware.
Brace the day, people.
You could